Marcus did not write from a marble dream. He wrote surrounded by petitions, flatterers, sickness, and war. The passage has weight because the hand that wrote it knew pressure. Epictetus taught the same discipline from a harder road. He began as a slave. One leg was ruined. He knew insult, noise, and dependence. In the schoolroom, on a plain stool, he told his students that prohairesis remains free unless a man hands it over. Walls do not enslave him first. His own judgments do. Marcus inherited that steel and turned it inward. The line sounds severe because it is severe. Retire, Marcus says, to a place where neither brawler nor prostitute disturbs you. Good, but understand the point. That place can exist here as well, in the middle of disturbance. If others do not permit a life in accord with nature, then one may depart life itself, rather than betray one's calling. Then comes the sentence that strips vanity from the matter. Here is smoke. I will go out of it. That is all. No drama. No claim that fate singled you out for insult. No speech about injustice. A room full of smoke does not owe you comfort. It presents a fact. The Stoic answer is another fact. Leave or stay and breathe steadily while duty remains possible. Marcus is not praising retreat for every irritation. He was emperor. He knew office, grief, bad counsel, and endless interruption. He speaks of a reasonable and sociable creature, regulated by its proper nature. That means duty first. If the smoke is only annoyance, remain at your post. If the smoke destroys the possibility of honorable action, go without resentment. Most people cling to a childish bargain. They tell themselves peace will come after the room changes, after other people become decent, after the workplace turns fair, after the family stops speaking foolishly. So their condition is handed to weather, gossip, and appetite. Seneca warned that the unsettled mind carries its turmoil across every threshold. It changes houses and keeps the same fever. Another error follows close behind. A man confuses endurance with submission. He boasts that he can tolerate anything, then lives for years in corruption, cowardice, and contempt, calling it duty. This is not Stoic firmness. It is moral laziness dressed as patience. Epictetus told his students to examine what is theirs to guard. Character is theirs. Reputation, office, and noise are not. What years taught me is plain. Some students crave a noble excuse to flee difficulty. Others worship grim endurance because leaving would ruin their pride. Both are evasions. The test is quieter. Can the soul still act justly here? Can it speak truth here? If yes, remain. If no, depart without bitterness and without an audience. Picture a meeting room after a bad decision. Faces tighten. One man performs outrage for status. Another lies softly and calls it strategy. You feel the heat rise in your throat. Here the passage becomes practical. You do not control the vanity in the room. You govern the next sentence, the steadiness of your voice, and whether this place still permits honorable work. Or a friend betrays confidence. The body knows before the mind explains it. A pause at the door, a change in his eyes. Then the fact lands. You may confront him cleanly. You may reduce the tie to courtesy. You may leave that company altogether. Marcus allows any of these if they are ruled by reason, rather than wounded theater. Take a smaller trial, a delayed flight, the terminal hums, a child cries 2 rows over. Announcements crackle and reveal nothing useful. This is ordinary smoke. It touches schedule, not character. The Stoic task is narrow. Name what lies outside control. Guard speech. Sit upright. Read, write, or remain still. A reasonable creature does not turn inconvenience into moral collapse. This week, practice the distinction in writing. Draw 2 columns on a wax tablet substitute. Plain paper if you must. On one side write, smoke I must breathe for now. On the other write, smoke that corrupts my calling. Keep examples specific. A rude colleague is not the same as a dishonest profession. Second practice. Before entering one difficult place, a meeting, a family dinner, a hospital room, pause for 10 breaths with your hand resting on the doorframe. Name the role required there. Son, colleague, husband, citizen, witness. Marcus called these kathakonta, fitting actions. Go in to perform the role well, not to bargain for comfort. Third practice. Once this week, remove yourself from one source of needless contamination for 24 hours. No complaint, no announcement, no sermon. It may be a conversation that always rots into malice. It may be a table where every hour trains vanity. Step out quietly and study whether your mind becomes cleaner or merely restless. Now, the hard case. An aging parent declines. The room smells faintly of medicine and warm linen. Speech thins. Memory frays. You cannot leave this smoke in the casual sense. Love and duty bind you there. The Stoic instruction changes shape. Stay, wash the cup. Answer the same question again. Do not demand that mortality arrive in a form you approve. Another hard case is public disgrace that was partly earned. Here pride fights like a cornered animal. It wants either excuses or dramatic exit. Seneca wrote often about meeting fate without theatrical gestures. So stand still long enough to separate punishment from identity. Correct what can be corrected. Bear what must be borne. Leave only what truly destroys the possibility of honest action. Marcus closes the matter with calm force. No man can hinder me from doing what I will, if my will is regulated by the nature of a rational and sociable being. That is the inner citadel. A room may choke with smoke. The mind need not.